the Technivore proudly presents the Phil B Podcast, starring Phil Bonjuane.
It puts a marriage to the test, doesn't it? This is like the proper test of a marriage when you put a husband and a wife together for 24/7, 24 hours a day, within four walls, the Great Wall of China, and then you have your wife and the husband staring at each other and you're like, you know what? Can we get through this together?
Well, yeah, she looks for any excuse to get out of the house because she's like, you're driving me nuts. Because my OCD has gotten worse over the years. So I'm like, yeah, all right.
You know what they say. You know what they say, right? There is no perfect marriage. It's always a work in progress. I mean,
there's the honeymoon phase, and then that's it.
Oh, I never had one. For me, it started backwards. So I'm doing a Benjamin Button coronavirus marriage over here. So on the 1st of June or the 2nd of June over here, we're gonna have the lockdowns eased, and people will get to go out. But it's a gradual easing of the lockdown, and I think the same would be with you, right? With you guys, I think it's already happened for you guys. You see, the thing is, the way I see it is that if the cinemas don't open, to me, then the world is still shut because I don't see Hollywood on open anymore. It's like everything's Netflix. So if we're going to sort of dive into that direction of Netflix only, then do you think that the cinemas will ever be open again, or are we going to go to a drive-in cinema, but then by the same token they tell you to stop driving cars, take a bicycle, so we have a bicycle cinema now. We have a ride-in cinema.
The cinemas are allowed to reopen, but all the cinemas have refused to do so because the 25% capacity thing means
it's ridiculous.
They can't generate enough revenue.
It's absurd.
So they're not going to do it until it's basically allow everyone back.
But do you think that it will ever get back to that where we're going to live normally and maybe go to forget the cinema? I'm even talking about Broadway, the theater, where you go for the atmosphere. You don't want to go to an empty theater. I'm not talking about the cinema anymore. To me, a theater is a theater. That's not a cinema, even though that the two words are interchangeable. But it's like, when you go to the theater to watch a Broadway show, you don't want to go and sit alone and see someone perform. You want to have a crowd with you. You want to clap in unison. You want to do everything and laugh together. That's what we do as a society. But do you ever think we're going to get back to that stage, that portion of life?
My wife knows a number of people in New York and has some close friends there that work in theatre, and they're pretty heavily impacted by this. But it's, the whole entertainment industry, and even like doing stand-up comedy and stuff like that. I mean,
all of my friends, they're all depressed. They have nothing to do.
Yeah, well, and that's why you're getting a lot of people that are considering moving out of LA and New York and moving to places where it's a bit more relaxed.
Go to Atlanta, Georgia, sit down in lush greenery. But if they do open the theaters again, in my head, I'm picturing 400 or 500 people all seated, looking the same because they have to wear a mask and sit down and watch a show, which is what I think it's going to come to. And it's almost as if like you have this very strange dystopian sort of lifestyle that we're living with. Like it's almost as if like there's a blizzard outside. Like you're putting on these weird accessories on your face. But you're going out like a lunatic.
I don't know why they didn't put you on the task force. I mean, America's just such a hilarious, outrageous place sometimes. It's a place of extremes, is what I call it.
The country is just like having a wife. Extreme.
Yeah. It's a whole spectrum of craziness. And it's, you've got New York, then you've got Florida and Texas. I mean, it's just... They're countries within themselves, I guess that's why it's called the United States, but they may as well be on completely separate platforms, because a lot of people in Texas, they're like, we don't want anything to do with the rest of the country.
You know what this reminds me of when you just said that was that I was every time I feel down, I go back to watching that. I just key in Fauci laughing on YouTube, and that video where he's in the back, when Trump's talking, he's in the back, right? And so Trump goes over to he says to
is that the one where he does the face palm?
Yeah.
It's like...
But do you know how it manifests? It's just that it's a 30-second clip, but you see Fauci, he's like this little short imp of a man, but he's Italian, and he's really he's
Italian New Yorker sounding guy.
But he's really smart, but he's like that. He's sort of like that scientist in those villain superhero movies, and then Trump's that guy saying, do the fucking job this way, do whatever I say. And he said, this can't be done, do you understand? And so
Trump changes his mind every
yeah,
5
every
seconds.
every 5 or 10 seconds. But what happened was that because you said Texas, I'm going to tell you, the guy was saying, let me get back to this because I need to send this guy back to the state. But you know what? The deep state, if you don't mind. And then you see the camera pan to Fauci. He starts because you know what Donald Trump does. He tries to do this Don Rickles act. You know, He tries to do the same timing and I know it. I said this is what Rickles did. This guy is doing Rickles, and I'm like, you know what? Fauci's laughing because of that. And he said deep state. Deep state is Texas. And the guy goes, you know, he does this right, and it's something I would do. Is like he moves his hands like that. And he's like, you know what, this is ridiculous. I need to contain myself, but I can't because I have a lunatic in front of me.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can defend the man. And you and we understand where he comes from. I don't think many people see it from that angle, but we do. This is the only guy who posts more and tweets more than I do. Okay, and you know how much I tweet and post, and this guy does the same shit. It's like almost sitting behind the desk at the Oval Office. Like, you know what? I've got mountains and piles of paper of actual work over here, but first let me get to tweeting something out because that's my job. I need to tweet today. He called out Twitter saying that because I think two or three of his tweets were flagged, right? So he feels offended today by them being flagged. And he's like, you know what? Let's now shut down social media completely. And I'm like, if we do that, how are you going to vent? Because that's your avenue of venting, isn't it? So what happens?
That's it. Well, probably what's going to happen is they'll create a new Twitter or a new form of
Trump
social
Twitter.
media.
Twitter
and
Trump.
will be on there. But the thing is, you know, he'll go on there, and then everyone else will follow him to there, and all the people that love to be outraged at every little thing that he says will all go there, and they lap it. It's like popcorn to them. It's what you call the Trump bump. So they love to talk about him because it fuels that ratings. It perpetuates that whole thing, and it's easy to talk about him because he's an outrageous person.
Oh, he's ludicrous.
You know?
I just picked my phone up to just tell you how
And
many
I think they're
followers
going to
he
miss
has.
him.
Let me tell you this man, how many followers this crazy guy has on his Twitter account.
60 million.
Close, 80. But this is the guy, on Twitter, if you have 1 million or more is considered amazing already. It's considered fantastic. This lunatic has 80 million followers.
Yeah, it's worked. This crazy, outrageous style has, whether it's good publicity or bad publicity, any publicity is good.
My name's Phil B, and you were listening to the Phil B Podcast. Good night, everyone.